welcome to our senior parent coffee. I'd like to begin by introducing our fantastic principal, Mr. John Dodig, who really knows your children well, greets them every morning, and loves this school as much as your children do.
Good morning, everybody. I will be brief. I just want you to know, I've been here for 10 years, and I can tell you unabashedly with assurance that you're in good hands. So latch on. If this is your first senior, then fasten your seatbelt. If you've had one before, you don't need a seatbelt, but just latch on to your child's guidance counselor, and he or she will walk you through every single step. There's no need for panic. Your child is your child, so, remind them to do their essay. But while I have a captured audience, we have a big event coming up, and I need your help. I'll send something out in writing, and I'll notify the kids. But we're having our first homecoming game next Friday under the lights. It's the first time in the history of Staples. We've never had lights before. As you know, the last 4 years, we've had homecoming breakfast game. We have it at 10 o'clock in the morning. But we're going to try again after 5 years to do it in the evening. There'll be some events going on after school. I think we're going to open the concession stand, so if the kids want to eat, they can. But just remind them that my expectations are, while they're here, they're my responsibility, and I need them bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. The consequences, if they screw up, is they forfeit their internship. And when I ask seniors in the auditorium on the first day, raise your hand if you intend to be a senior intern, everybody's hand went up. I want them all to do that. It's a nice way to end your senior year. They finish their exams, they finish their AP, they have 3 or 4 weeks to be out there in the community showing everybody what they can actually do with all the stuff they've learned here. So that's the stick and the carrot. And I need you to help me with that. And then I say to them, and I'll tell you, after the event, they're your responsibility. I hope they're safe and for the rest of the weekend, but that really is a parent and a family issue. But at my event, my home, this is my home, that's what my expectations are. So I see the cup half full. Always, I have great faith in my kids. Seniors are great leaders. I love them all. You've done a good job. It's not over. It's a tough year. You still have to be a parent. But listen attentively today and you'll learn a lot. Thank you. Rick Francis is the assistant principal who has guided your children along with you for the first 3 years. And he's still with them. He hasn't given up.
Good morning. I just wanted to stop by again and say hi. It seems like I was standing here just yesterday with the class of 2010, and here we are with your children, class of 2014, going into their senior year. As John said, it's a great group of kids. I've enjoyed working with them. Fantastic kids. You have a great group of counselors here that I work with on a daily basis. So each one of your children is in very good hands. I want to reiterate what John said too. In the homecoming under the lights, even though there's lights, the darkness offers a lot of anonymity out there, a lot of shadows out there. So we're going to need your help in sending us the best possible students. The last thing we want senior year, when it's high stakes time for your student, is to end up suspending a student and having them have to explain that when they go to college. So and nothing's worth it for 2 hours under the lights to have that kind of time. So I appreciate all your support, all your help. Great class, and I look forward to seeing you the rest of the year in June. So thank you very much.
I want to thank a couple of people. We had a couple of student ambassadors, young ladies that were out here distributing materials to you, and I want to thank them. And also I want to thank Jim Honeycutt, who's here taping us right now, because that will enable you to either see this again, or anyone who's missed today will be able to watch it on cable channel 78. I also want to introduce our counselors to you. So we have Christine Tellerico, Tom Brown,
Good morning.
Deb Slocum, Vicki Capozzi, Leslie Hammer, Denise Honeycutt, Jen Curry. We have Bill Plunkett, Ed Heidick. I see him back there in between all of you. You will note that PJ Washenko is missing today. It's for a really good reason. He just had a baby yesterday. I knew you were going to say that. I love it. So he had a little girl, her name is Aria, and we're very excited about that. Also, we are very lucky this year to have a guidance intern a couple of days a week. Her name is Lauren Wren. She's right here. We share her with Bedford Middle School. So she's at Bedford a few days and she's with us a few days. So it's great to have her. And we have two people who are such an essential part of our team, and they work tirelessly with the seniors and with every grade. And that is Susan Fugit and Shauna Flaherty, and they are our College and Career Center coordinators. And I just also want you to feel reassured that if your student for the past 3 years had either Chris Gray or Michael Lawrence as their counselor, both those counselors will be writing your students' recommendations. We have that process in place. And Leslie Hammer is facilitating that process for Chris Gray, and Tom Brown is facilitating that process for Michael Lawrence. So please know that we've got that all taken care of for you. So just to begin, how many of you are doing this for the very first time? Show of hands. It's a good number. How many of you have done this before? Okay. Things are changed just a little bit, so I'm glad you're here. You're going to be glad you're here as well. And how many of you, this is the big question, are going to be empty nesters? Wow. We could start our own group. We should actually have our own separate meeting on that. Well, believe it or not, for you empty nesters, there are some good things about that, like less laundry. You'll see. There's some good parts that come out. All right. So today our purpose is to give you the information you need to help make this process go much more smoothly. And you have been given a packet, so it's a booklet. And we've taken a lot of time to prepare, and it has all the information that you need, the step-by-step to go through this process. Please take the time at home to read it, because you will find a lot of your questions will be answered by reading this packet. Your children are getting it also, so please encourage them to read it as well. You also, in the packet, will find our PowerPoint, so you can follow along, and you will find an evaluation which we hope you will fill out at the end of this program. At this point, I just want to give you a quick update of what's happened so far. You have already received a mailing with an unofficial transcript in it. We want you to look at that with your child very carefully and make sure that it's accurate, because if there are any mistakes, this is the time that your student should come see their counselor so we can fix it before it gets mailed out for any, to any colleges. Counselors also began to see your students in their senior English classes, and we began this on Monday, and we will continue to do that for the rest of this week. Those students are getting the same information that you are getting today. Just out of curiosity, because I love to see whether kids go home and tell their parents anything, how many of you have heard that we've been in their senior English classes? Good, all right. This group's talking to them, to you, that's great.
Finished.
Yeah, and that's right, we've got 2 more days. And also in these English classes, we're encouraging your students to make appointments with their counselor now, because this is what we want them to do. That's really important. Soon you will also receive a letter home talking about credits needed for graduation. And in that letter, you will see what courses or credits are left, or if there's any capped requirements left. Don't worry, because just to let you know, counselors have checked every student's schedule to be sure they're taking what they should be taking in order to graduate, but you'll be getting that in the mail. We understand fully the stress and pressure this process causes for you and your children. Your children are feeling overwhelmed, plus they have this fear of rejection, and for the first time in their lives, they have no idea where they will be going next year. We also know that every student is in a different place at different times in this process. So some have their essays and their lists already, and some have no idea where to begin. And that's okay, we're used to that. So if you're concerned about anything, please be sure to call us, and remember to be patient. We're here to help, and just know that in the end, it really does work out. So those of you that have been through this before can verify that, and I can tell you that I've been doing this for over 30 years. Of course, I started really, really young. And it does all work out, and has worked out all that time. So for now, just sit back and relax, and just let us guide you through the process. We'll be here at the end of the program, so if you have any specific questions, you can come see us at the end. Thank you.
Okay, not a good sign. I don't know what's not working.
Okay, good morning. My name is Christine Tallarico,
And I did just want to reiterate what Elaine just said about all of your kids are going to be in a different place at a different time in this process. So don't freak out when we're talking about stuff and you feel like your kid just isn't there yet, because everybody comes to the table at a different time. It does work out in the end. Okay, so just how many college applications is enough? It's a question that we get asked very often, every day. With so many colleges and universities to choose from, it's important to narrow down the choices and make a list of those that are a good fit. Keep in mind, there's no perfect college. In order to make sure that your kids have options later, applying to a diverse range of colleges and universities is advisable. Choose 1 or 2 colleges where you think there's a significant chance of your child being accepted. These colleges are known as likelies. We used to call them safeties. We can't call them safeties anymore. They're likelies. Likely schools also need to be schools your child actually would attend. Okay? No point having them there if, you know,
Hold that, hold.
if all else fails and they actually have to look at that school and in the end they're saying, I don't really want to go there. It's got to be a school they actually would attend. Choose 2 to 4 colleges that you think your son or daughter has a better than average chance of getting in. These are called targets. The last set is the reach schools. These are colleges that may pose application challenges, but applying is worth a try. Your son or daughter should choose 1 to 2 schools for this group. Though there's no strict rule regarding the number of applications sent, it's still wise to ensure that your invested time, effort, and money are all worth it. Try to avoid sending out too much. Focus and concentrate on the schools that your child is really interested in. With good planning, and hold on to your hat, 6 to 8 schools will suffice. Okay? And just to reassure you, data taken from the class of 2013, okay, so last year's graduating class, supports our long-standing request that 6 to 8 schools is the right number. So the average number of applications submitted by students in the class of 2013 was 7. Okay, Naviance, or Family Connection. Very important to update, update, update. Take off schools from the list that are no longer of interest and add schools that now might be on the radar. It's important that Naviance be kept updated because it will be used for the online submission of all school materials. The Common Application list of colleges and Naviance list of colleges need to match, okay? Additionally, students are sent automated emails about college representatives visiting Staples that are generated by their list in Naviance. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Shauna Flaherty, and this is Susan Fugit. We run the College and Career Center. Walk-in hours are available for students to meet with a counselor to answer any questions they may have on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday during lunch hours.
There will be a common application workshop given by counselors on Tuesday, September 24th and Tuesday, October 22nd. This is a really valuable session that students only need to attend one. They can bring their own iPads, iPods, their phones, their laptops, because the counselors will let them pull up their own Common App and ask questions.
Each year, approximately 200 college representatives come to Staples in the fall. We start this Monday, September 16th, and these visits are for students only.
So for students to attend a college visit, they need to sign up this year to attend that visit. The way that they sign up is that they go onto the college visit link in Naviance, or they are also posted, I think 3 at a time, just right on the front. And you just click on it and there will be a place that says sign me up. Once the student signs up for the visit, there'll be a little note that says to go to this link. The link is just to the guidance webpage. where they can print a pass to attend the visit. The pass is then taken to their teacher at least 24 hours in advance. The teacher signs it and will need to present that at the door. Students, seniors can attend any session they want. It's really done on the honor system as long as they have a signed pass and they have signed up ahead of time. And they are responsible for any missed work.
Just remember to check Naviance for frequent updates. The schedule can change at any time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Leslie Hammer. I'm a new counselor here at Staples this year. I'm working with the students who were with Mrs. Gray last year, and I'm very much looking forward to getting to know and working with your children this year. I'd like to give you a very brief explanation of the various types of college applications that your student will be navigating this year. First is rolling admissions, and we like to think of rolling admissions as basically first come, first serve. So while there are no specific deadlines, it's really crucial to apply early in the fall for these schools because when they've accepted enough students, they stop. Regular decision deadlines, this is sort of the traditional old-fashioned way that we're probably most familiar with. These deadlines are typically January 1st or January 15th, with students hearing the decision of the school by April 1st. Early action is non-binding, and students can apply to more than one school. These deadlines are usually in November and sometimes even October, so you want to be sure to be up to date on that and make sure that you don't miss those. Restrictive early action is similar. These decisions are also non-binding, but the colleges with this type of application typically don't allow students to apply to any other schools. It varies from school to school, and there are not a lot of schools with restrictive early action, but again, it's really important to check. Some will allow you to apply to your state school, but you just need to be sure to check their website for that. And finally, early decision is a binding contract. It shows that the student is 150% committed to just this one school. Most of these applications are due in November, and the student will hear back in about mid-December. The important thing to know is that there's an online early decision agreement that will be signed by the student first. That will generate an email to you. You'll need to sign off on it, and then we also sign off on it so that the school knows that all parties involved are vested in the fact and know that this is a binding commitment. There are several components to this application in addition to the application itself. First off, the school materials. These are sent by us. They're the school profile, the transcript, and your counselor letter of recommendation. Next, you have the teacher recommendations. These come directly from the teachers. You'll have test scores. Your student or you will be ordering directly from College Board or ACT.org, and they're sent directly to the schools by those organizations. And finally, the application, the essay, and the payment. The student is responsible for that. And then interviews. If your student's an athlete, an artist, there may be auditions. They need to send in a sports DVD. So you'll need to be aware of that as well. And each school will have different requirements for what they'll accept. And finally, as far as, it's just important to know that when your student is registering for tests, you want to use full legal name, and this should, likewise on the common application. If the names don't match up, let's say your child's name is Billy, his full name is William Michaels. He's William Michael Smith to the College Board. He's W. Michael Smith on his transcript. They need to line up. It's possible that these could be sent to the same school. They're going to create two different files, and they'll never feel that they have a complete file. It's always incomplete. So just be sure to check that. Check it on your Staples transcript as well.
Hi, I'm Bill Plunkett, or William, or Billy. Calling me that. So the process for requesting a transcript is outlined on pages 6 and 7 of the blue-bound booklet that you received on the way in. You'll also see a blue insert with instructions and screenshots. That replaces step 1 in the booklet, since after we developed the booklet in the spring and over the summer, the process was changed with the new version of the Common Application that came out on August 1st. It may seem like a lot to take in, but if you follow along with the instructions in the booklet, checking items off as you complete them, I think you'll find that it's pretty clear and straightforward. Before anything else, students should have updated their Naviance account so that the colleges for which they're requesting a transcript are all listed under colleges I'm applying to. Instructions for doing this are in the booklet and on the Staples Guidance website. The first step in actually requesting a transcript is something that students will do on their own online, matching their Common Application account, the program where they'll more often than not be submitting their application, with their Naviance account, which is the vehicle that we use to submit transcripts and recommendations online. So that way everything comes together in one file at the college. So you want to strike an X through step 1 of page 6 on page 6 of the booklet, and that says complete the important privacy notice in the Common Application. So that's the one that's replaced with what's on the blue insert. So first, even if a student doesn't plan to apply on the Common Application, they still must register for a Common Application account and complete the FERPA authorization in the Common App for us to release their records to the college. They'll then complete the matching process by logging into Naviance, entering their email address used on the Common Application. This has to be the same as the email address used in Naviance, and we're instructing students on how to update their Naviance email address this week if they need to do so. The second main step in the process is to turn in a set of documents to the guidance office. This includes the transcript release form, the Staples Secondary School Report form, which replaces any other secondary school report forms, the student activity sheet, the parent guardian brag sheet, a printout of colleges I'm applying to from Naviance, and the $5 fee per transcript. So 9 out of 10 colleges out there will accept materials online. But for any colleges that don't accept transcripts or recommendations online, students also need to provide an envelope that's addressed to that college. Using the symbols that are on page 7 of the booklet, you can determine in Naviance the colleges where this is the case. For the transcript request, students use 10 by 13 envelopes with a Staples seal, which they can pick up from the guidance office ahead of time, addressed with either computer-generated labels or handwriting the addresses on them themselves. Then turn in with the rest of the documents. But again, that's only for colleges where you see the little stamp next to the college's name. So you have samples for each of these forms in the booklet, but when it comes to actually filling them out, you want to download them from the Staples Guidance website under transcript requests. They're all either PDFs or Word documents that can be typed directly into, printed, and then submitted to the guidance office. To complete their transcript requests, students, not parents, should turn in their packet of all documents at once to Mrs. Ketley in the guidance office between the hours of 10:30 and 12:30 beginning on Monday. The initial transcript request should be made at least 4 weeks in advance of the first application deadline. It's a November 1st deadline, back that up 4 weeks to October 1st. Additional transcripts may be requested by submitting an updated printout of colleges I'm applying to from Naviance with the additional colleges highlighted, an envelope if necessary, and the $5 fee for each transcript. The 4 weeks isn't necessary for any later transcript requests. It's really that first one that we require advance notice for. We strongly suggest that students plan to submit their application to the college within 60 days of submitting their transcript request. If they still haven't submitted their application once 60 days has passed, the college may have difficulty matching their application with the transcript recommendations that have already been sent from Staples. As a result, we encourage students to think about their applications and transcript requests and teacher recommendation requests in 2 waves and only focus for now on those colleges with deadlines of October, November, or December, or rolling admission colleges. Anything January 1st on, hold off until closer to that date. We found that last year that students who did this were really able to simplify things and ensure that everything was matched up at the college.
Good morning, I'm Jennifer Curry, and I'm going to continue talking about some of the things that Mr. Plunkett mentioned, specifically the letters of recommendation. So the first letter of recommendation is the counselor letter, and 2 pieces of information that need to be filled out that are very important to that are the student activity form and the parent guardian brag sheet. Your student will complete their form, and you will complete your form, and they will be part of the packet the student submits to Mrs. Ketley. The more detailed and thorough those are completed, the more information your student's counselor has for their letter. So it's certainly up to the individuals how much time and effort they want to put into it, but the more, it kind of works out to be the more the better. Once the transcript request is made and that packet of materials comes to Mrs. Ketley, she will give it to your student's counselor, and that will get them started with writing the recommendation letter process, which will then go with the transcript and the profile to the colleges by your student's deadline. The next piece is the teacher recommendation. And all of your students hopefully have contacted 2 teachers, either in the spring or at the beginning of this year, to ask them to write a letter for them. And the process for that is similar in many ways to how we go about the transcript request. So students are asked to ask their teachers and confirm at least 4 weeks before their first deadline, similar to us asking for 4 weeks. Then they're going to provide them with a form, and that form you can find on pages 17 and 18 in the blue-bound booklet that you have. This is just a sample of the form. It's also available on the Staples website. In looking at the form, the first page is really sort of very basic information, your student's name, but the list of schools that the student is applying to with the deadlines and whether or not they accept an online version or a paper version. This will allow the teacher to know where to send the information online or which envelopes they should be expecting to receive. The second page of it is actually questions for your student to answer. So they're going to be giving the teacher information that will help the teacher with the letter, similar to our questions that we ask for our letter. So again, the students are going to give this piece of paper to their teacher 4 weeks before their first deadline. They're going to make sure that Naviance and their common application accounts are updated, and the whole process will work that the teachers will get the letters out. Again, we encourage sort of that 60-day, 2-month policy that they should be giving their teachers sort of 2 rounds. So for those November and December deadlines, they can give them the completed form. And for any January deadlines, they could give them just page 1 of the form later on with the additional list of schools that they'd like the letters to be sent to. Last but not least is a thank you note. Our teachers do a wonderful job of working with your students and writing them letters as they want to see them continue their education. But realistically, writing letters of recommendation is not part of their job scope. This is something that they do because they care about your students. So having your students write them a handwritten thank you note to let them know how much they appreciate it, and then to let them know later on in the year where they got in and where they're going. So many of our teachers don't know what happens at the end, so it'd be nice for your students to keep in contact with them throughout the year.
Hi, I'm Tom Brown. It's nice to meet you all. I'm replacing Michael Lawrence. It's great to be here, thank you. I'm going to talk to you about SAT, ACT. Everybody loves that. Great 6 letters. So, SAT and ACT, a lot of your students have probably already taken them, a lot of your children. If they haven't, there's still fall dates available. Fall dates, there's October and November dates that they can take, which they'll get their scores in time for a lot of the regular decisions, and the October one in time for the earlier decisions. We do not send the test scores. This is really important. A lot of students ask us when we're going to send the scores. We don't do that. Only you have the permission to do that as the parents and as the students. So for SAT, you do that through the College Board website. Through ACT, you do that through the ACT website. And you send official score reports directly to the school. Each school will have different requirements of what they want. Some of them will say that ACT, SAT, either one, that means they are interchangeable. There's not one that's better than the other. You can send either one and it's just fine. But check what their requirements are for that school. It's important to know what they want to see. And last, the fairtest.org. For students who testing isn't their best thing, because I know a lot of us don't love tests, sometimes our academic record is the best representation of how we perform as a student. And fairtest.org has a list of schools that are now becoming test optional, where they no longer require SAT, ACTs, and they look at other aspects of a student's academic record to decide how well they want to have them, or if they want to have them in their college or university. So that's a really good resource as well. For the SAT subject tests, these are required by a few schools, not a lot. Many times it's listed as optional, and that's an important distinction to know. So if it's not required, you do not need to send these. If it is required, it's important for you to talk to your counselor, talk to the subject area teacher that your students have been working with to discuss which tests they should take, when they should send them, and which scores they should be sending. If they're optional, do the same thing, because sometimes it can be advantageous to take the test, sometimes it's not. So the SAT subject tests are a little more variable, but it's important you talk to your counselors about that, and we'll help you figure out what to do. Last is the AP test scores, which are also exciting tests to take. These ones are on the admissions part where you're filling out the applications to send to the colleges. These scores are going to be self-reported at that part. So for right now, when you're applying to schools, the student and you are going to fill out the application with their scores self-reported, so they just write them in. There's no official score report. Which scores you want to send, again, that depends on the criteria the school is asking for, but it's also important to talk to your counselor about what scores you're sending. Different schools will have different expectations of what scores they want to see on APs, so we can help you decide which ones to send and which ones not to send. Once you get into a school and they want to know how much credit they're going to give for the APs, that's when you're going to send an official score report from the AP testing agency. Not now, because those cost money and you don't need to do it. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Good morning again. You're all going to pretend that I'm PJ Oshenko. So one of the things that we want to go over, because we probably operate under the assumption that a lot of you know the application itself, is kind of review the options for that. So the first one, and the most popular one, most frequent one, is the Common Application. All of your students will actually create an account because they have to link Naviance to it, but most of them are going to complete that application and send it off to many schools. So that's the one you're going to see the most of. Then there is a Universal College Application. This is very similar in nature to the Common Application, it's just on a much smaller scale. About 500 schools accept the Common App, maybe 50 schools accept the Universal App, but we do want to let you know what that is in case you see that listed as an option. And then the third option is a school-specific application. This is when an institution has decided that they're going to keep their own individual application, and your student most likely will go to their website and fill out an online application for that school specifically. So when your students are looking at what applications are accepted, those are the 3 different options that they will come across. This is also important to kind of think about early, because typically the student's application is the first piece of information that gets to the college that creates the file with everything else that's going to join it. With any of these applications, there may be some supplemental materials that go along with it. So with the Common Application, each individual school has its own supplement page to that. And with some of the other applications, there might be additional information, especially if your student is applying to a specific major or maybe applying as an athlete or something else that might need to go with it. So always important to kind of keep a list of how much materials are required with each application. The next slide is something that we put in because most of our seniors ask us these questions. And while we really do love seeing your seniors a lot, by the 5th time, 10th time, 50th time of answering these questions, we get a little
Crabby.
Yeah, thanks, Vicki.
Circle this.
So we asked all of your students to highlight, circle, star this slide in their packet. When they are on the Common Application, under the Education section, these questions will be asked. Most of them don't know the answers to these, so we've given them and you the answers to the questions so that they can fly right through the application and not feel like they need to check in with us, wait a day, or make an appointment, so you have all this information right at your fingertips to go through the application.
Good morning, I'm Denise Honeycutt, veteran counselor here. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the essay this morning. The essay is a really important part of the college application. It allows each student a chance to write about something meaningful to them, something important, and it really gives a personal aspect to the college application. Keep in mind that when your sons and daughters apply to college, they're being compared based on GPAs and SAT scores, but it's the essay that really can make a student stand out, and it really can make or break the decision. At this point in time, many of your students, well, some of them have written their essays, some of them are thinking about writing their essays, some of them are just kind of talking about it a little, some are ignoring the topic completely. So what we would like to offer is our help and support. If you have a son or daughter who needs some help getting started, please have them come and see us. And we encourage all of our students to show us their essays before they are sent out. Also, we caution students, please don't have so many people read the essays. Don't get a whole lot of opinions, because every time somebody reads an essay and throws in their 2 cents, it kind of chips away at the reason of writing that essay, and then it takes away from the kids' thinking. So we really want it to be in their voice. We don't want it to be in a 40-year-old dad's voice or it needs to be in a 17-year-old voice. So please, we caution them about that. But please encourage them to come and see us regarding their essays. The interview. Check with each school to see if your schools require or recommend that your sons and daughters be interviewed.
Most schools do not because it's quite time consuming, but some, especially the smaller schools, will want to interview the students. And this is really to kind of measure to see if schools are a good fit one way or the other. Some interviews are informational where a student will sit and just get some information about a school, and some are more evaluative where an interviewer will actually talk with the student for a while, write up a little blurb, and then send it along to admissions. So it's important to check regarding interviews. Thanks.
Good morning, I'm Ed Heidig. If your son or daughter is a big-time D1 or D2 recruit in an NCAA-sponsored sport, it is all important to have them register with the NCAA Clearinghouse. There's a transcript release form and information relative to the Clearinghouse available in the transcript Secretary Missy Ketley's office, and that gets the process going. Ultimately, the NCAA will review the program and determine eligibility. Any specific questions about the process? Obviously, Marty Lisovic is the source authority as the athletic director. Otherwise, there's a useful guide that's listed in your PowerPoint that you can refer to. On the other hand, Staples has produced also, along with athletes, many, many sensational Bachelor of Fine Arts candidates who by now certainly know that their portfolio, their DVD, their CD is going to help determine the process of admissions. You guys who have sons or daughters who are going that route should certainly take note that the portfolio and the requirements at each specific school may be different, but the portfolio is going to be such a huge element. There's also a website there to assist you, in particular the National Portfolio Day, whereby professionals can help critique those students who present their portfolios to them. Is well worth your time to take a look at. There are also special fine arts schools who have fairs that would be worth your time, and that's listed as well. Finally, if your son or daughter has an IEP or a 504 and a number of accommodations here at Staples, be aware that the normal admissions process should run its course first, and ultimately you will request accommodations which vary from college to college after your son or daughter has been accepted. It's ultimately your family's decision in terms of whether or not to disclose any accommodations prior to the decision being made. But questions relative to IEPs and 504s would be best served when you sit down with us and review that final list. Thank you.
Hi there. So let's talk about senior year schedule changes. So Mr. Plunkett was talking about when your children request a transcript, within 4 weeks, the transcript will leave our office. So let me say, and we've been telling this to your children as well, that once a transcript leaves the office, your children are no longer permitted to change classes in regards to particularly second semester classes. Level changes are a little different. However, let me give you the rationale, please. When we send a transcript to a college or university, we are sending your child's grade 9 courses, final grades. Grade 10 courses, final grades. Grade 11 courses, final grades. Grade 12 courses in progress. When a college or university is reviewing that transcript, they are looking at grade 9, 10, 11, 12, 9, 10, 11, and grade 12 courses in progress, and basing their decision on what your child has chosen to do senior year. So please, talk to your children, take a peek at their schedule on Schoology, and should they need to talk to us about their schedule, they should get in and do that as soon as possible, or at least before we send their first transcript out. So senior year grades and the importance of senior year. Traditionally, we know that students in the middle of the year tend to say, I'm in college, I'm done. Well, they can't do that, especially in the first quarter and in the second quarter. Now, first quarter grades and having to send them to universities and colleges have become more and more popular in this process. And last year, for instance, myself, I received about 5 phone calls from colleges and universities saying, can you please tell me what Johnny's first quarter grades were? Because sometimes these grades are the make or break on the decision that the college needs, make or break in making the decision at the university. Your student will have the opportunity to request for those grades to go to the university, and more colleges are now requiring this as an option. So I advise you to check the school's website carefully. Excuse me.
May I please have your attention, sophomores in homeroom 1004. Please report to room 1028 for your sophomore meeting. Thank you.
Do you think she's from New York? So mid-year grades, semester grades, the final grades after fourth quarter and midterms will be a final semester grade. Those grades will automatically be sent to the colleges and universities that your child have told us to send, where to send. You will see forms that say mid-year school report. I need you to ignore those. Don't give them to us, we don't need them. We automatically send to the schools that are in your child's list of colleges that have asked us where to send them. So, second quarter is just as important. Because think of this. First quarter grades come out in early November. Early action, early decision schools, deadlines are November 1 for the most part. Colleges and universities start reviewing November 2nd. So as they're reviewing their thousands and thousands of applications, it might be December 1, December 10 that they're looking at your child's application and saying, oh, we need those first quarter grades for the first quarter grade piece. And then the mid-year piece, we're looking at those students who have either been rolled into the regular decision round or have chosen to apply regular decision. Now, third quarter grades. Last year, we have had colleges call us for third quarter grades. And students asked for third quarter grades to go to the universities because they were waitlisted at a university that they may really want to be at. Third quarter grades are very, very important as well. So look, we have a challenge here at school in keeping our kids motivated, our second semester seniors. We ask you to help us do that as well. The final transcript with the final grades in senior year are automatically sent to the school that your son or daughter choose to attend. And sometimes we do receive letters, warning letters from the colleges and universities if your son or daughter has chosen to really stop doing their work and their grades have significantly dropped. I beg you and implore you to read the fine print when your child sends the application of what they're signing, as well as reading more than the first line of congratulations, you've been accepted, and then chucking the letter or throwing out the email, because the rest of the email or letter will talk about your acceptance is contingent upon your successful completion of high school at the same academic level you've been working at. Please read that fine print. So, how does everything get there? How does this all happen? At the college or university, there will be a file opened for your son or daughter, whether it be an old-fashioned manila folder or an electronic file. As soon as something arrives at that university, no matter what comes first, the file will be opened with your child's name on it. However, things come in pieces. Okay, the application, the essay, and the payment, and maybe the supplements will come from your home. And sometimes I'm with the student in my office pressing the button, but it's the student and parent's responsibility, and sometimes the counselor helps with that. It's one piece. The other piece is the school piece. Transcript, secondary school report forms, school profiles, college counselor letter of recommendation come from us here at school. When your child requests the transcript with all those A, B, C, D, E, F, G stuff listed on page 6, that's how we know to send the school piece out to the colleges and universities. Test scores, If your child is applying to college with standardized test scores, those get sent from home, or the responsibility is the adult and child. And lastly, the teacher recommendations go right from the teacher's desk, teacher's computer, teacher's responsibility. It all gets there. In general, it really does not matter what gets there first. However, the best case scenario really is to ensure that the application gets there first and everything else matches up. However, I can assure you that does not always happen. I can assure you that 99.9% of the time, information gets matched up, and if it doesn't, the colleges and universities do pick up the phone and give us a call. As well as will haunt you with emails. Where's stuff, where's stuff, where's stuff, where's the stuff? It works. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Deb Slocum. I'm going to finish up the slides. We have a financial aid night coming up. Absolutely invaluable for any family that's thinking about it. We have the financial aid officer from Sacred Heart who comes and gives a wonderful and thorough talk. The financial aid process starts quite early, so it's important. I had a parent call me last year in April to explore scholarships and financial aid, and I was like, too late. So if you have any interest at all or any need, please make sure that you attend that evening. In terms of scholarships, the reality is the bulk of scholarships come from the colleges themselves or from local scholarships here in Fairfield County. My recommendation to overwhelmed kids is that they finish the college application process first and then can start beginning exploring scholarships for the most part in January and February. That doesn't mean that parents can't keep their eye on the wonderful list in Naviance that the College and Career Center staff update on a regular basis. So, we have flooded you with all this information. And you're thinking, how do I help my child? What can I do? Well, you have to hear, because you always hear from the guidance department about the social emotional component of this process. I'm going to remind you yet again that your high school senior has not fully developed his or her prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for planning and judgment. There's still 6 or 7 more years till that's developed. So many parts of this process are really a developmental challenge for kids. The college process and their brain growth don't match. So there's nothing wrong with your child if he or she has trouble organizing themselves or seems unmotivated to get this done. So this is where you do step in and help. Most seniors will need help with chunking out the process itself and helping them set deadlines. So you can manage the administrative little stuff. Send the test scores, check and make sure that everything gets there, look and see when the college visits can happen. But the big jobs, like writing the essays, speaking with the teachers and contacting the colleges, speaking to representatives, must fall on their shoulders. This work allows them authenticity and to feel as if the process is theirs. You're sending a message, you are a capable human being and you can manage it, not, I need to do this, because if you do it, it isn't going to work out. So in the short term, it's so much easier to do it yourself. Just like it was easier to carry them when they were 1 year old instead of walking around holding their hands while they learned to walk. But the significance of you communicating to them that he or she is an able human being who is valued no matter the results of the college admissions process cannot be underestimated. I know. The stakes are way too high. I'll send them that message on something else, but not the college admissions process. But if you step back for a moment, really step back, we all know that this college process has been blown way out of proportion. Still, I'm going to admit that holding a balanced, grounded perspective in this area is almost a full-time job for senior parents. Because you're out in the community talking to other people, and everyone in Fairfield County has the best tutor, the best college consultant, the inside scoop, and you can't help feeling you must be failing your child in some way. Everybody take a deep breath. I'm going to introduce some realities to you. Number one, there are no perfect college matches out there, but the person who has the best sense of who their child is you. So help them assess what is right for them in a college. It really is all about the fit. What's right for your neighbor's child may be completely wrong for your own. As Harry Truman said, the best advice I can give my children is to find out what they want to do and advise them to do it.
Excuse the interruption. Will Belen Videla please report to the Assistant Principal's office?
Number two, let me offer a reassurance to you. Your child's ultimate path in life is not a direct reflection of your parenting ability. She or he was born with certain innate talents and a defined temperament. I think we can all accept that by now. So in all probability, your parenting contributed to some improved behaviors, is also responsible for some of his or her least desirable characteristics. And finally, there are parts of your child's personality and temperament over which you have no impact at all. Which leads me to the next point. You have no control over the outcome of this process. Let's call a spade a spade. It doesn't matter what you do or do not do, who you hire or do not hire. The college admissions process remains a mysterious business with unpredictable outcomes, which drives parents in this high-achieving community crazy. Would there be so many experts and books out there if everyone knew the right answers? The best you can do to protect your child is by being realistic and sending the message, I love you, no matter where you're admitted to college or where you're denied admission. Again, it's developmentally appropriate for our children to be absorbed in short-term goals. So, depending on their personalities, they're either cranking out those essays, wondering what NFL games are on this weekend. We, on the other hand, have a responsibility to see the big picture. We're the adults. This year of their lives is very short in the large scheme of things. When it's over, you'll have constructed a relationship with your child that goes well beyond high school graduation and this challenging process. In short, when you feel overwhelmed and terrified, P.S., I have an almost 20-year-old, and I'm going to explode the myth that overwhelmed, terrified, and worried feeling disappears when they graduate from high school. Remember this, next September, it'll be all over. As the years pass, a high achiever may drop out of college, while the slow to mature student flourishes in graduate school. No matter what happens, your child's senior year cannot be recaptured, a time when you're guaranteed to see them at least once every day or two. This is a precious moment in time. Don't miss it, and don't wish it away, because it'll be gone in the blink of an eye. Thank you.
Given a lot of information here today. I just want to do a couple quick announcements. In back of the room, one of our parents, Lisa Voloff, she's going to raise her hand so you can see what she looks like. She is in charge of the senior internship program, and she has some information that she will stay here for. So she's actually got some handouts, and will answer questions if you want to go see her at the end. We also have an evaluation form in that booklet. If you could fill it out and perhaps either put it on the table, we have a box for evaluations, or hand it to one of us, that would be great. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming and for your wonderful children. They make our day. Thank you so much.